Yep.
Hello, I'm John Ryan.
And I'm JD Orr, and this is the New Year and Same Old Handball podcast, USA Handball Talk.
You're right. Well, that's probably been true for almost every year, but um, it
We'll see what
is
happens, I guess.
it is a new year. I guess I'm looking forward to the European championships throwing off here pretty soon. There'll be a couple matches to watch every day, at least. Well, t two simultaneously, or I mean, two simultaneously twice, uh, typically, and then we'll have like three a day during the main round. But lots of good handball to look forward to, and a world record crowd most likely to take place.
That's right. The outdoor is it going to be outdoor at the stadium and is it in Dusseldorf or where in Germany is it?
Dusseldorf, I think the stadium has a roof. I'm not
Okay,
sure
that's what I was
if it's a roof
concerned.
like SoFi. I'm not sure
Okay,
exactly how it's set up. I mean, they play football, soccer in
soccer.
it, so
Yep.
um, I can't remember one of the players I liked it. He's like saying, "Well, let's just do this once because this is it's not how handball is meant to be played." I think
Oh,
Kretschmar
hmm.
said that, but I agree. Um, I mean, what's it's like the silly uh, hockey game they play outdoors. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool looking, but
I think it's nice to do one time. I look at the seating arrangement. Like I think about the Carrier Dome for Syracuse for basketball. It's like it's impossible to see the game if you're sitting up in the nosebleed, even for Final Four and things like that. When you're having basketball games in football arenas, it's like this is very inconvenient. You're going to sell a lot of tickets, and even same thing with like concerts and big football stadiums. It's like you block off half of the stadium and then you're at a weird corner angle, you can't see anything, and you got to get your binoculars out there. It's like, why did I pay money for this again?
well, go into an NBA game in an upper deck is of limited aesthetics. You know, at least there you can see the ball go in the basket.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, anyway,
Well,
um,
we'll see how it goes. It could be interesting for at least finding ways to make it better for the future. But handball is a bigger court than a basketball court, so that's at least a plus.
that's true. And that does come into play. I think when you're looking at the aesthetics for a good seat in handball, you've got a lot more to work with, and you can kind of see that when you see hockey and or basketball played on the same arena floor.
Hmm.
You get those lower level seats, but you're kind of in the corner. In
Yep.
basketball, those seats can suck.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
My
um,
football seats are 3 rows from the field for Ohio State, and it's really nice on one end zone, and it's absolutely useless on the other. So
yeah. Wow. All right. Well, where should we start? Um, if
we
you
had a
don't
lengthy
have any,
discussion. I don't have anything in particular, but I know we had a
well,
lengthy discussion last week.
after we hung up on the last podcast, you and I chatted a little bit about Ohio State,
Hmm.
and I think contextually, um, I think it illustrates a little bit what we're trying to say. And my question was, who's the quarterback at Ohio State? Why the quarterback leave, and how did that all play out? And I guess you can just kind of
Yeah,
uh,
I'll reiterate kind of what we talked about a little bit, and it's one of those things that Kyle McCord, for those that don't know, he's a fine football player. He played quarterback here. He'd been on the team for a couple of years. Went to high school with Marvin Harrison. Good rapport, but he lost a key game, and he kind of was very underwhelming all season. Nothing, we've been very blessed, and basically when he ended up the game, they lost the game on an interception. So, it's kind of the last thing you remember. And the coaches sat everybody down, or they individually sat down players and basically told them the situation. And after he was done with his meeting, he promptly transferred to Syracuse, a significantly lesser program where he could immediately step in, get some good playing time, get some good reps. But it's what John and I were talking about. It's just, they're very clear with him about the situation. We have a room of, two other quarterbacks currently in the program with one more, the top quarterback recruit coming in next year
These are
to come in.
quarterbacks he'd already beaten out.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so he was the best
Beaten
quarterback.
out.
Okay.
He's the best out of the three we currently have. There's one more
How
coming
many
in.
games did he
That's
lose as a starting quarterback?
one, one
Okay.
game.
All right.
So that's just that's the threshold of excellence here that we expect
How does
out of our
backup do
teams.
in the bowl game?
So the first backup, he was pretty poor, and then got injured very quickly. And then the following backup was just god awful. It was probably the most embarrassing display of Ohio State football I've ever seen in my entire life.
Also
It
known
was
as the entire University of Iowa football season this year.
Oh my gosh, it was painful to
I,
watch.
but,
It's painful.
but I guess, and who's going to be their quarterback next year?
The drama right now, and the rumors go
They
circling
don't
around.
already have a quarterback. They don't even know who's going to be quarterback,
Nope,
right?
nope,
Ah,
exactly. It's up in the air. There's a competition, open competition. But rumors have it it's a transfer from Kansas State. So we'll see.
yeah. Yeah. I guess my whole point was just a kind of an illustration. And our national teams, and sorry for any international people out there, aren't as important or as big as Ohio State football or
Yep,
Syracuse football or Air Force football or South Dakota State football.
yep.
I mean,
Little
I
Sisters
could,
of the Poor football.
yeah, it's more than Little Sisters of the Poor, right? And it's kind of a bit of an apples and oranges comparison, and you could argue about, well, what constitutes important. It's all sorts of things are like number of people that care, number of people that pay
Watched,
tickets,
yep.
all those things. But here's a situation where they don't even know who's going to play the most important position on the team. And the guy's pretty good. I'm going to say that he's a top
He was
25
a Heisman
quarterback in the
candidate.
nation.
He was a Heisman candidate. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
At least the top 25,
yep.
probably higher. He's gonna sign a pro contract. We don't know whether he'll make a team. I mean, a lot of it depends on his Syracuse year. I mean, but they don't even know who is going to be their quarterback, the most important position in football. And they told the guy essentially, "See you later." And I guess, like I said, our national teams aren't at that level, but they also aren't like a high school basketball team either. It's a national team for an Olympic sport, and um, that means something. And it means it's a serious business, even if it's not as well established as we would like. It's the big time.
Yep.
Okay.
It's as big as it
Um,
gets for us.
yeah. So um, I guess that goes to the context that there are better athletes out there, most likely. And it's a question of whether we can get them, we can convince them to play, and we can put them in a good training environment. And I guess that goes to the second. I'm going to jump in with a second topic and
Yeah,
let you.
of course. No, no, keep it
As I
rolling.
was referencing, there was a somewhere in the last week or so, there was a board meeting minutes drop. Not like a podcast drop, but
Just
let me
kind
see
of
if I can share
just
the
gonna
screen here.
casually put this out there under the radar. Don't want too many people to know, but can't hide from John Ryan. So
Well, I don't get I love terrible maps. Oh, look at that. It's got Greenland up there already. Is this country Greenland? Oh, they're funny.
Oh, good,
No,
good,
that's
good, good. No, no
how
data.
come is this country Greenland? How come it's not green? No data. I guess they're going to Kalalununuat or whatever it's pronounced. But yeah, I love that website. It's one of my favorites. But let's go to the U.S. Team Handball website. That's one of my favorites too. And if you go to the homepage, let's see. Let me go back. And you want to see the board minutes? It's changed from time to time. Boy, I tell you, under previous regimes, it was nearly impossible to find them
Yeah,
if they were ever posted. So hats off, better transparency of late. But down at the bottom, you can click on board minutes, and then you
look at
can
that.
click on 2023, and
Nicely
either four or
organized.
five of these dropped. And there were little
Oh,
tidbits. There were little tidbits in all these meetings, minutes.
hmm.
And there was one, I don't know if I can find it or not. Um, it mentioned that they were starting to establish a dialogue with Dallas and how it would play into, uh,
Women's national team development.
yes. Um, I think I paraphrased it pretty good there. Um, but let me see if I can find the exact words. Okay, there it is at the top there. Mr. Brannick had started to establish a dialogue with the Texas project leadership to determine how a partnership may evolve and impact the efforts to develop the women's national team. So um,
That sounds
I had
very collaborative, the way that that's written, which is not the
sounds.
impression that I got. Oh,
I'm sure we could probably get folks in Texas to tell us where they
yeah,
are.
yeah.
I have not reached out to them. I've kind of waited to see it how it all plays out. I follow them
Hmm.
on social media, and I get the posts of like, so and so has signed on to be the director, and so is a board member.
Yep.
You know what post I'm waiting for?
The who's taken over this whole ship here?
No, I'm waiting for the, and this is how we're financing it and running this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
because
Mariusz's pocket
I well, I think it's
for now.
like I said, it's something that you could maybe scale up, scale down. I'm this is where um the the gravitas of USA Team Handball, the official NGP, can make a difference. Um, and obviously, if there's an official connection, it might make it easier to get sponsorship. USA Team
Absolutely.
Handball could work to get sponsorship. We could do the whole reality show thing that
TV
we
show. Yep.
talked about there. I mean, there's lots of possibilities, but um, I think it's tough to do that as an independent entity. What do you think?
I've as I got some flack from people with me agreeing with you all the time, but this one I I definitely agree with.
Who's giving you flack for agreeing
I
with me all the
I'm
time?
not I don't need to name names. They were just wanted a little bit more Stephen A. and to Skip Bayless style, and I was like, if John and I agree, John and I agree. I'm not gonna intentionally disagree with him just to stir the pot, but from where things are, I can tell you this much on my time with working through my organization, Great Lakes Team Handball. I get essentially nothing, from being just another handball entity. Even the union, I know, talking with Mike on trying to, grow some stuff with him. It's not the same as if you had the NGB, status behind you to try to get support from sponsors and just general interest. So it definitely helps. As we talked about, the weight of what US2 handball carries is not that significant, but it is, the nugget of being an NGP is big.
And it'll get bigger as we approach LA
Olympics.
2028.
Yep.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Um, uh, I think in general you have a concept of how to do it, how to train people up, um, but funding it and
Yeah,
you know,
especially if they're talking about, I think I talked briefly with Ariane, Ohio State player, about, going out there, and they basically were talking about having players move out there, and similar to kind of how things were with Auburn, where they'd be training on a regular basis. But, as I think briefly mentioned with Mark's situation here, it's that gyms aren't free, so unless you got a pretty good gig on a gym, that's definitely your biggest cost is gym time. So, and especially if it's a nice gym, it's going to cost, pretty expensive. And Dallas is a big, Texas is a big state, a lot of room. But I know, was it Frisco, which is the suburb up out there that they're, chomping at the bit, to keep growing more and more sports activities in that area. So, I can't imagine indoor real estate being a cheap endeavor.
no, it's not. And then, if you're going to have somebody do the coaching, are they going to do that for free? Um, it's medical,
Oh
all
yeah.
those
Oh yeah.
sorts of things. There's a
Yeah.
lot of logistics to that. So it'll be interesting to see. At least they are talking to them. Maybe
Yep.
they are thinking about doing their own thing too. Um,
Now
uh,
these minutes are from September, and I can't tell you if I tell you the last time I saw something posted from Mariusz about, activity going on out there. So I don't know if things have gone cold here in the winter months, but that's just my maybe a lack of time on Facebook and things the last few months.
well, and that was my. I'm going back old school. I did a podcast or two with Joey, and I gave him some grief about. Um, it's just like, if you have teenage daughters, they get upset on social media
Yep.
that somebody's doing some great party, and I'm like, going, that's just what they're posting. You don't know
Yeah. You don't know. Yep.
how
Yep.
real that is. And so again, like the advent of onslaught of social media that's come out. If you're good at that, you can
Oh yeah.
make look absolutely nothing look like something.
Well, that's where
Um,
you look at these commercials for Adobe. It's like, here's this little girl and she wants a princess or a cupcake castle and this, and you just the AI now you can just ask for whatever you want and it'll show up. So, if somebody knows what they're doing, to your point, it could be very very impactful.
yeah, I have such mixed feelings about it because I mean I see stuff posted sometimes and I go like, well, that's they're making a lot more out of this than something than what it really is. And I wonder how many people realize that.
Yep.
um, but at the same time, I mean, promotion is a good thing. Um, and you want to give people, warm thoughts, good feelings. I think the women's national team, they post some great stuff, um,
They're
promotional wise.
very
Yeah,
active compared to
you
everything
know,
else.
so on the one hand, yeah, I think it's good to get yourself out there, and you never know what will happen. Somebody will see it and they'll do something. So I mean, even if you have a mediocre team playing somewhere, it's still playing. It's still something that you can report on. It's still something you can show,
Yep.
um, and make it look as cool as possible, so somebody else, you know, looks at it.
Joins in. Yep.
I'm all for that. That's part of my dream. With college nationals or even a Final Four, is I don't think we do enough in that part. I think a lot of times we're more concerned about the actual games,
Yep.
which it sounds kind of silly to be saying that because that's why you're there, right?
Right.
But the promotion is really important too, and I think it gets kind of shoved to the side all too often. Falls
Yep.
off the plate, if you will.
Yeah, and even from a historical retention standpoint, like we've had some guys over the year that have got really into recording data, but I try to look back on when I was playing, in college nationals, and you can't find anything. There's no evidence of what teams played and anything like that. So it's just, that information is just lost, and that's what is frustrating for me when I look back and we can go look at who played in the 1912 World Series, and I can't see who played handball at the national championship 10 years ago. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
remember, it allows you to fill in the blanks with what you want to
yeah, how
fill
I
in, I
interpret
guess.
it to be, Ohio State near close loss to West Point,
You know what?
definitely.
I don't have a color photo of me playing handball on the national team. All I got
Yeah,
are a few black and white photos from Swedish
newspaper.
newspapers.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's my own fault. I mean, cameras weren't as ubiquitous back then. And then I had the video. I
right.
actually had the video of the Sweden game, but it was in the different format. So it was kind of
VHS or something before
whatever the
VHS.
European. I can't think of the
Oh, geez.
acronym is for it. So it kind of showed funny. But then when I was living in Europe, I had a European. This is how old I
Converter.
am. I had a
Oh,
European recorder VCR.
oh, nice.
So
There we
come on,
go.
it was early 2000s, so they
Yeah, yeah.
existed back then. But I can't find that tape anymore. I think maybe it
Oh,
was still in that VCR
French
recorder that
apartment.
I threw
Oh,
out.
jeez.
But um, yeah, I think the promotion, you know, is important, and
Well, I
that's one
think it
thing.
also is a recruitment standpoint too, because like what I do with Ohio State is right now we're getting into the early college acceptance period, and kids are deadlines have passed for enrollment, and so I start going to class of 2028 pages, or class of 2024 high school, class of college, class of 2028, seeing who's going to Ohio State, looking at their profile, seeing if they played sports, sending them an offer letter basically. And I'm not offering them anything besides a spot on the team. I don't have any scholarships. I don't have any incentives besides coming and hanging out with me. And you know what? Last year I went 1 for 100, and the one kid I got immediately started on our first team and is one of our better players. So I think it's a numbers game. So
It's a numbers game. Hopefully, you can make that better than 1%.
just
Maybe
yep.
get it up to
Just,
5%.
I'll take 2% this year. That'd be pretty nice. So, but
Um,
yeah, we can increase
yeah,
that.
promotion, recruiting. Um, I am going to participate in a working group on the Paris
Okay,
2024, and I hope to um, basically what you and I and a couple other guys have done on an ad hoc basis to get that a little bit more organized leading
ahead of
into
time
it.
rather than the day before, or like the
Yeah,
world
well,
championships.
it's uh, well, I'm glad there's a working group to really take a look into it, and I'm glad that I'm on it
A working
because
group
I have
outside of USA Team Handball, or just
no, it's a USA Team Handball working group.
okay.
So again, they've got the cachet,
Yep.
So in theory, there are some things that we should be able to do, especially with their social media handles. But one of the other things I've learned is I do some freelance work for the EHF. Mostly, I just edit articles.
Yep.
But they have like a team. They have reporters writing them. They have somebody working social media. They
Yep.
have somebody working a blog, and then they have guys like me editing
Editing.
editing the reporter articles. But that whole team is simultaneously working, and they're in a uh, Microsoft Teams, and we
Hmm.
can communicate with each other and say stuff like for instance that video that crazy pass that oh, who did that? He had to slow down the pass because you couldn't see it. But it was in a Champions League game.
Karabatic to
Um,
his brother or the
no, it was
Sagerson
this
one?
season. It was this season. I can't remember, but I saw that and I said, I have seen this video 10 times. So the social media guys, pressed it on further after, communication with each other,
Yep.
the of something to see. And, tagging of famous people, um, you know, but maybe we can do more than tag. Maybe, you know, now that ABA knows Snoop Dogg and
Yeah,
has his
yeah. Him
number,
and Kevin Hart are
maybe
close. Yeah.
who knows? But hopefully we can, uh, you know, take it another step further because now you got a good message. You got the timing for LA.
Yep.
But you know what? I would be like, how can I get the women? Because
Yep.
that's where
That's the low hanging fruit, I think, of easy, and I shouldn't say easy, but most impactful, most quickly. Um, I think is where that can play. So, I'm kind of on that note, though. The previous note, I wanted to say that we had lunch with an avid handball fan who's big in the NBA realm, and he, had an idea about us going over to the NBA All-Star weekend and kind of potentially just rubbing shoulders and trying to get some people out into a gym, tossing
want to
handball
name
around.
drop here.
Neil Johnson, he's our
Oh,
handball fan.
okay,
So,
all
yep.
right.
Nobody, no,
You have me
nobody
all
knew.
excited,
I'm
like, oh,
sorry.
it's going to be
Yeah,
like, I don't know, Greg Popovich or something.
yeah. So, so that's one that he and I were talking about heading over to Indy maybe, and because it's in Indianapolis, and we'd looked at potentially renting out a gym and trying to figure out a way because he works for the Rockets. So, he's going to talk with his boss about what that might look like about getting, some guys that are just hanging around for the weekend to come and dabble just for kicks and get a video team out there because overtime and people like that will be on site. So
Well,
just
yeah,
for fun.
and perfect example. Those overtime guys, they are,
Oh,
and I
it's
actually
once a
asked
quarter.
Neil.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they've been posting handball like once a quarter
They've
at this
posted
rate.
handball stuff, but they're really savvy. I've listened to the Sportico podcast. They had the overtime CEO on, and they're very savvy with the social media. And that was one of the things I was saying. Here's the reality, JD. I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm in my 50s.
Yep.
I'm in the top 10% of people on social media in their 50s, which puts me in the bottom 5% of
Of
younger people.
all user. Yeah.
Yeah. The EHF does not have me running their social media pages. Okay, because it's not my
Yep.
wheelhouse. It's somebody else's wheelhouse. Um, and um, put the people in the right skill set. I think I'm pretty good on Twitter or X. I'm
Yeah.
good with words, but geez, I taking a
It's a
photo or
lot to make a nice cool poster or a quick montage video. Like that's the speed in which they can do this and the how nice it ends up. It's an art, you know.
yeah, and to be able to do it on a phone. I was a
Oh
PowerPoint
yeah.
ranger when I was in the Air Force. I was pretty elite there, but times have changed and I have not kept up.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, I use Canva. I try to tell our guys that it's a free app. You can go in and it's got a bunch of templates. You just plug and play the pictures, um, just change the text. So it's usually pretty quick. But yeah, I definitely prefer doing stuff on the computer versus my phone. But trying to make TikTok videos that are funny and get people to watch it. Like for instance, we had a short couple of videos I filmed, just random things at practice. I uploaded them to YouTube, and one of them, they're all three almost the same video, same drill, and one of them got into the right algorithm, and it had 10,000 views in a day. And I was like,
They
I
just
have
did
three of
that
the
just to
same
make you feel
video.
better. They
Yeah,
just they just
it's painful. I was like, what did I do? Like, how do I get back into the algorithm? Like, what have we
yeah.
done? So,
Well,
So
but you reminded me. I'm actually going to do a TikTok intro for this podcast to post it or
okay,
whatever. I've been
there we
waiting to
go.
do that, so I'd be my first TikTok post.
Now, where you can, what I do, with the kids I coach is I really like harp down on the old man doesn't understand technology. And so if you could just, if you ride that wave and just like completely ride it, then that's where people will engage with it, think it's funny, and not that you want to go down that road, but I think that would, I think that's one wave that we can ride. The intentionally not understanding the internet.
Have we been on share all this time?
Yeah, I wasn't
I
sure
wasn't sure.
how long you
No,
wanted to keep this up.
I forgot to do that. How do I get out of that? Down
Just
at the
stop
bottom, I
sharing at the
suppose.
bottom of X.
Oh,
Yep.
there it is. Stop share. Wow,
Sorry.
we need to get our act together. Um, what about? Did you want to switch gears to talk about the Samala Cup for a bit?
Yeah, we got about a couple minutes left here on this show, and I know that you were out there in attendance, and um, I know Josh Forstoffel, our Ohio zone, he was out refereeing some games, and he wanted we had some over under bets on blue cards and red cards awarded for the tournament with both hit with the over. Yeah, I think it was an overall sounded like a pretty uh, brute force kind of final. A lot of physicality, but
Yeah, maybe we should talk. I actually have there's video of the one where the guy's face got
broken.
broken. Yeah. Um,
So
well, I've been going to tournaments like that for since 1987, so I've been around a while. And I hate to say it, but more things change, the more, just like you said at the beginning, they stay
that's
the
yep,
same. And um, it we need to really think about how we change the way we play and structure our competition in the United States. And it's not working. I mean, maybe it is, for the people, give them what they want, you know, if that's what
yeah,
they want, give them what they want.
fine,
But you know what? The only people that play in those tournaments are the diehard people that just love the game, and
yep,
that's expats and a handful of Americans, and that are willing to pay to fly somewhere, get a
yep.
hotel room, and then play way much more handball than they should in 2.5 days or however long the tournament is, and it's dumb.
And and in some cases, you're taking time off work. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
I
dropping
mean,
$1,000 a
I
weekend
say
at
it's
least.
dumb, but I remember I was young once too, or youngish, and I loved to play. And it was, but we didn't have quite as many tournaments back then. There was lot more driving,
Yep,
where people were in driving distance. And it's just it when you play that many games over that much time, it starts to get a little ragtag. And Josh and Mishi and Mike and Mike Kavanaugh. I don't know how many games they ref. I feel bad. I never got certified as a ref, and even the ones I casually refed, I sucked. But man,
yep.
wow, these guys are refing all these games. But man, I'm such a bad ref. It would be,
I
I'd
think
rather be
you'd be
doing promotion
surprised.
or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
it
know.
just gets a little ragged. You can tell the play gets a little ragged. People are a little tired, and you know what? Injuries like that happen more often when people are tired.
Yep.
Um,
Because you think you know how fast you can move, and then you're not moving as fast as you knew you could move. And so then, the timing of the defense is a little late, or the timing of your cut is a little late. Now you're running into a brick wall, or you're basically setting yourself up for failure.
yeah, and the thing I noticed as I moved from my 20s into my 30s is waking up the next day was
It's a
so
little
much
rough.
harder.
Yep.
And on Sunday it was like, Jesus, why am I
Got one
doing
more
this?
day of this. Yeah.
Until you start moving.
Which takes it out an
But
hour to get get things
yeah,
back and
I
lubricated.
yeah, yeah, it's but the thing is, and I mean, we can get more into a union USA team handball discussion. I don't know if I don't think the union has the power to kind of steer people into a different type of competition. I don't know if USA team handball does either. I think it's going to take a combination of sticks and carrots to change the way we do things.
Yeah.
Um, and that runs counter to, well, that's what they want. Give them what they want.
No, I mean that's where I know our guys. I don't want to say kind of poo-pooed any trip over 3 hours, but I try to make it very clear to the teams in our area, like we got enough games going on in our neck of the woods. There's no sense, yeah, you're going to play against better teams if you drive halfway across the country or fly, but at this point in time, I don't know that that's really worth your time and money, especially for college kids. So I
It's
think that's
not,
one
and
thing.
that's why I was so glad when we took what you had started and tried to give it a little stamp, with the
Yep.
Trailblazer Conference. I think that's a model that should be uh, improved upon, and you know, given birth in other regions of the country.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the sort of thing where USA Team Handball could, with a combination of sticks and carrots, make that sort of thing happen. Um, but it's not going to happen unless somebody in charge pushes it in that direction. Um,
Maybe that's a
but
good topic for us to dive into on the next show.
yeah, I think so too. Um, and um, maybe I'll even write a post about it.
Okay, we can share our screen with a nice slide and have a TikTok to complement
Oh,
it.
you
So,
want me to make a briefing? All right, sure, I could do that. All right.
uh,
Um, so anyway, uh, I'm John Ryan, and for my compadre JD Orr, you've been listening to USA Team Handball Talk, and thanks for listening.
ciao. Cool.